Have you ever experienced a glitch in the Matrix? Consider sending it my way so I can feature it in a video like this one. Just go to astheravendreams.com and click the button to submit your story, and of course, thank you. I lived in Rhode Island all my life, and had been to Newport many times, especially the Newport Creamery that is now the Panera Bread Plaza. One day, in the summer of 1995, my lifelong friend Kenny asked me if I wanted to take a ride to Newport, as he had a dental appointment. I said sure, we'll get lunch when you get out of there, and I waited in the car during his appointment. When he got out, we drove into downtown Newport, and I parked my car in a familiar spot that I knew, behind two of Newport's best nightclubs. We walked down the famous America's Cup Avenue to Thames Street. That day, ESPN was in Newport telecasting either the Extreme or Gravity games. I saw the ESPN sign. Because of the big event, they had a Ferris wheel and other makeshift activities. I remember looking up at the top of the Ferris wheel, and I remember seeing 100% dark gray overcast sky, as it was all morning. Walking down Thames Street, we took a right at the Shell gas station onto Wellington Avenue. As we turned, I said to Kenny, "Weird, I just felt like I just jumped up and down." As we turned onto Wellington Avenue, I see a wall slant downward, and the slant got lower as I walked. When it got low enough for me to see over it, I could see the ocean and all of the boats near the wall. I saw these little wooden stands selling souvenirs, with a wooden floor as a pathway. I could see that the merchandise stands could close by pulling down the front covers, and they had holes at the top and the bottom where a padlock could be inserted. All of a sudden, I see the sun emerge. A huge burst of sunshine hit me, and I said to myself, wow, the sun came out fast. We walked into a business district that I'd never seen before, loaded with shoppers. Very busy, a two-way street. I can still recall a bus stop. I walked by some restaurants and looked at their menu on the outside wall, and they were way too expensive for the lunch we were looking for that day. So we kept on walking, and I saw a Newport Creamery. I said, wow, I've never seen this one before. So we went in and ate there. As I sat and ate, the register was to my left, and I looked out of the glass wall. I had a view of the ocean. I was watching people play frisbee and walk their dogs on the grass where there was a bandstand/gazebo. The sun was still bright, not a cloud in the sky. The business district was so alive and so amazing. I couldn't wait to tell my wife. We walked back to the car the same way that we arrived. To the best of my knowledge, I believe it was overcast when driving back home. When I picked up my wife from work, I told her, wait until you see where I'm taking you Saturday night. That Saturday, my wife and I went to Newport, this time driving. I turned down America's Cup Avenue to Thames Street and took a right at the Shell station. But I didn't see the slanted wall, just a ball field and an apartment building. So I turned back and drove around for half an hour and gave up. I tried to take my wife to this business district in Newport twice more that summer, and from 1996 to 1999. In 1999, I walked every street side and road off America's Cup Avenue and Thames Street. About 3 hours. I found nothing. I bought my first computer in 2000, and I did a web search for Newport Creamery, Newport, Rhode Island. There were two listed. The one I know so well at the now Panera Bread, and the one on Bellevue Avenue. I said to myself, There's the answer. We went to the one on Bellevue Avenue. That conclusion was satisfactory for over a decade. In 2012, I discovered Google Street View and looked up the Bellevue Avenue location, and this was not the restaurant that Kenny and I had been to in 1995. There was no ocean view, no shopping district. I thought maybe Google Street View didn't pick up the right angles. I went to the Bellevue Avenue Newport Creamery in 2012. I even walked behind the Newport Creamery. It was in a little plaza on Bellevue Avenue. There was no ocean view, no shopping district, no slanted wall, no bandstand or gazebo. I finally spoke with Kenny about it. Kenny said to me that area was also unfamiliar to him as well, and that there was something strange about that day. My curiosity exploded in 2016. I began to ask longtime business owners in Newport about the 1995 location, but no one knew about this Newport Creamery. I phoned the Newport City Clerk's office, and they confirmed to me that there had never been another Newport Creamery other than those two registered in the town of Newport, Rhode Island, and they've never moved from another location. I told a coworker of mine this story. He worked with engineering maps, and he said to me that he was familiar with Newport. I described my situation the best that I could, the slanted wall, the boats, the ocean. He said, "I think I know where you're talking about." He pulled it right up on the maps, and I can see the satellite view. I said, "Oh my god, that's it." But it was deserted across from the ocean. There was no business districts, no wooden stands selling souvenirs, but there is room there for it. About 100 yards of grass and vegetation in front of some elevated houses. In other words, the area across from the ocean is undeveloped land. I took my wife there, and she had seen what I described to her all those years. The slanted wall, the ocean, the boats, the grass in front of the bandstand/gazebo, the two-way street. I stood on the exact spot where I ate my lunch in 1995, looking across at the bandstand from a now vacant side of the avenue, where no restaurant had ever been. The many times I tried to go there with my wife, I saw the ball field and the apartment complex on the right, when I was expecting to see the wall and the ocean on my left. So, when I saw the ball field and the apartment complex, I kept turning around. Had I kept on going, I would have seen the wall and the ocean on my right. In other words, I was turning on the right road the many times that I tried to take my wife there by taking a right at the Shell station. What happened that day is when Kenny and I turned to walk on Wellington Avenue, we entered it from the opposite side of the avenue. So the wall and the ocean were to the left of where Kenny and I were walking. We entered a vortex where we were slung shot around the other side of Wellington Avenue. And I'll take multiple lie detector tests, and I assure you that I will pass every one. I swear on my soul that this really happened. I work at a financial institution, and as part of my role, I coordinate training for all the new hires within the first few weeks of their onboarding. The process begins when local managers send me the names and contact details of the new hires, so I can reach out to them for a brief introduction and set the expectations of the training material. Prior to the start of the pandemic, I would simply reach out to the new hire at their new office phone number. However, with new work-from-home changes, I would now reach out to mobile numbers and residential phone numbers. All in all, a very similar process to what I was doing before, just with the caveat of having to reach out to people at home. As per usual, I receive a new spreadsheet with the names and info of the new hires that I needed to contact when I came across a quite unique name. I picked up my headset and dialed the number provided. Conversation goes like this. New hire. Hello, this is unique name. Me. Hey, good morning. This is my name, calling from the financial institution. Did I catch you at a good time? New hire. Yeah, this is great. However, could you please call me at my landline? My mobile service isn't very reliable at this area. I wrote down the phone number she provided and we hung up. Immediately, I dialed the phone number and waited for it to ring. 1 ring, 2 rings, 3 rings. Older woman answers. Hello? Me. Hi, good morning. My name is my name, and I'm looking for unique name. Can I speak to her? Older woman. I'm sorry, who are you? Me. I'm my name, calling from financial institution. She asked me to call her back on this line. Is she available? Silence. Hello? Older woman. What do you mean she asked you to call her back? When? Me. I was just talking to her and she said reception in her area wasn't very reliable and to please call her back at this number. Older woman. I'm sorry, but that's impossible. The name of the new hire died 3 days ago. Me. Is this telephone number provided by the new hire? Older woman. Yeah, that's correct. Me. I'm sorry, I may have written down the number incorrectly. I apologize for this inconvenience, and I'm very sorry about your loss. I hung up, and I was lost for words. I somehow managed to write down the wrong phone number and reached a residence with a recently deceased person who had the same unique name. I'm certain I wrote down the correct number, but it is possible that the poor connection made me write a different number. I don't know what to think. Maybe this is an odd coincidence? Edit. I reached back out to the new hire's mobile number and I asked her to share the phone number again and confirmed that the number I dialed was correct. I was certain that she would give me a different number where the digits were flipped, and it might have just been a small dyslexia moment. I'm not so sure I was pranked by a family member, but it is possible that maybe a senior resident with a mental disability might have answered and given me that info. Regardless, I didn't question the new hire, as it is none of my business if the other residents live there and have access to the phone line. The next call I made back out to her landline, the new hire picked up. Okay, so last night, I believe I traveled to some sort of parallel universe, which deviated quite extremely from the one that we're in now. As I wake up in the dream, everything from when I open my eyes, get on my phone, to finally getting out of bed was the same and as real as any other normal day. All the same, and nothing at all out of the ordinary. At this point, it is a totally real and normal day. I'm not one bit aware that I'm dreaming. Fast forward a few hours, and my mother brings up COVID and how she wishes she could go back to when she could go out and order actual food. I ask her why not. I'll just go out to the car and grab something for lunch. She laughs and tells me that she'd love that, so I go to grab my keys and head out. She follows me out and asks what the hell I'm doing as I'm starting the car up. Something isn't right. My gas meter is almost empty. I have about 1/8 of a tank when I went to fill it up just the day before. At this point, things start to seem seriously off. On top of my mother's yelling to get back inside, I'm almost baffled by the fact that I have no gas whatsoever in my vehicle. More or less worried about how much gasoline is these days. When I get back inside, I further talk or argue with my mother until she brings up COVID once more and talks about how I could get it at any second outside and that I know the lethality of it. I'm dumbstruck, as I hadn't been around any people whatsoever. I live in a rural area until I go online and discover something that terrifies me. COVID had apparently killed over 1 billion people so far, and from what I read, it seems that contracting it and dying is a 50-50 chance, while actually recovering from the disease leaves you horribly crippled for life, needing constant medical help. At this point, I know it can't be real. Just yesterday, the world wasn't exactly recovering, but it wasn't nearly this bad. From what my mother told me and my own Google searches, most smaller European countries had fallen already and were in a state of total anarchy and chaos, if the people in said countries weren't already dead. The US wasn't that far off. Now I'm in a nightmare. Humanity is expected to fall from this, and I'm at a complete loss at what to do. I'm fast forwarding this because this dream, if you can call it that, seemed to last for literal months in my mind. I have intense and actual memories that I can recall from the entire encounter. About 3 months into the dream, the entire world is screaming as it dies. The US government and many others have fallen, and everything is in total chaos. Everything I've watched or read about in this reality cannot relate to the horrors of this new world. The things people will do to survive, let alone to gain a single piece of food. At this point, I'm mentally and emotionally ruined, as well as starving. I have no idea how I survived for even this long, let alone my entire family. The thing is, we took up refuge about 2 months inside of a local cave system near Birmingham, Alabama. An area that I've visited only once and never again. I had never been to this cave or even any of the roads leading to it. A good 10 miles south of the cave is a bar situated on a county road, pretty much in the sticks. This is the location that I went to in order to find something to eat. I imagined no one would be there due to the location, and I might have some chance at finding food that might be canned or wasn't already ruined. I get to it and search inside for a few minutes only to hear a truck approach outside. I'm scared and nearly crying. Up until this point, I'd only ever encountered a couple of people who never really wanted trouble. With the kick-in of the door, I knew that these people somehow knew I was there, and they were coming to kill me. I hid as best I could inside of a cabinet inside the kitchen, until one of them found me and shot me before even saying a word. This was it. I was shot in the neck and almost immediately died. It was almost peaceful. I just kind of fell asleep, and after a few seconds, I woke up. Upon waking up in my bed again, I lay there for almost an hour just staring at the ceiling. Everything in this dream was so real, and it happened. At least to me. Upon searching up COVID and everything being how I remembered it, I almost wanted to cry, but couldn't. I was still in survival mode, and I needed to figure out the situation I was in. I look up the locations of the cave and the bar, and lo and behold, they exist. Looking at pictures from the bar being the most creepiest thing ever, it was the exact same damn bar as in my dream. How can a bar that I've never once heard of or been to be the exact same inside and out? I almost want to drive out to the cave to see if it's the same as well, but it'd be a very long drive. All of this makes little to no sense. And even if no one comments on this post or reads it in its entirety, I needed to get it out. I feel as if I've lived another life for 5 months, and that this is now some facade, some twisted afterlife made to make me feel safe and comforted. I'm still struggling tonight with what I had to do to survive and all the energy that it took. I can barely sleep. Any help or guidance would be appreciated. Edit. I've taken a while to get back to how things are, and I wanted to explain a little more on how I'm feeling afterwards. The thing that freaks me out is I still have vivid memories of the whole thing. Nothing is fading away, and I'm still having trouble sleeping most nights. I don't know if things will ever really get back to how it was before, but I'm trying to think positively about the whole situation. I see that others have said they've had similar experiences, and that's frightening and soothing at the same time, if that makes sense. I've done more research on things like quantum immortality and things like that, and it looks interesting, but it's hard to find any real research or anything that can relate to this specific situation. All in all, thanks for the comments you guys have left. If anything, it made being back from that nightmare a little more bearable. I don't necessarily believe in this whole concept of glitch in the Matrix, but I have no explanation for this. It freaked me out so much that it's burned into my brain. It was between 6 to 12 months ago. I was standing at the dining room table at my boyfriend's place, fixing myself this medical thing I have to drink. It's over the counter, but I'm not one to share it because it literally tastes like dirt, and it's expensive. Boyfriend was about 5 feet away, fiddling with these portable lights for his photography hobby. I was standing there watching him while I measured and stirred my drink. It suddenly occurred to me that he would find it impressively stinky, so I held it out to him and said, "Here, smell this." We walked the couple of steps towards each other and met in the middle. I held the glass under his nose to smell, and he took a whiff, and then recoiled predictably. He exclaimed at how gross it was, I giggled and chugged it, and he went back to his lights. I continued to stand and watch him with his equipment for another 10 to 20 minutes, just keeping him company. We chatted about random things, and then he started to complain about the taste in his mouth. I didn't know what he was talking about. He told me, "From that drink." I stared at him in confusion. He looked at me like I was slow. "That drink? Your medical drink?" I'm like, "Yeah, what about it?" Feeling hella confused at this point because how can you have a taste left over in your mouth from smelling something? Like 20 minutes later. I suppose it's possible, but that seems a bit extreme, and it's not like the drink was made in the bowels of hell or something. He says very slowly, like he's just as confused as I am. "I still have a bad taste in my mouth left over from when you made me try your drink." I tell him, "I didn't make you try my drink, I only made you smell it. I don't know what you're talking about, you never tasted it." Now we're both looking at each other like the other person has grown an extra head. And he says, "Yes, you did. You made me try it. I took a drink and it was so bad that I had to go to the kitchen and rinse my mouth out to get rid of the taste. And it's still there." And I tell him, "No, I never even handed you the glass. I just held it under your nose for you to smell it." And since he's hyperlogical and couldn't explain it, he stared for a moment, said, "Weird," and then went back to working on his lights. Meanwhile, half a year later, I am still bothered by it. At first, I considered the possibility that he misremembered drinking it simply because the scent stuck around with him for so long, but that doesn't explain his memory of going to the kitchen to rinse out his mouth at the sink. I was with him for the entire time, and he never left the living area where he was working on his equipment. I don't know why this got under my skin so bad, but I have some pretty intense anxiety about it. I don't like feeling crazy, and, well, I definitely feel crazy. I've experienced plenty of what I can only describe as glitches before, but this is so blatant that I really need to get it off my chest in a place where it won't just be dismissed. I usually sleep in old t-shirts, and will often wear the same one for 2 to 3 nights in a row before exchanging it for a clean one. Last night when I was changing into my pajamas, I went to grab this red shirt from under my pillow. It's where I keep my pajamas during the day, before I realized that I'd worn it for 3 nights already. I threw it in my hamper, and I went to grab a different t-shirt instead. In my drawer, I saw a t-shirt that I used to sleep in all the time. I worked at a summer camp a few years ago, and it's my old camp shirt that I tie-dyed and had gotten signed by all of my kids. It has a pretty cool design on it that stands out, so it's not easy to just ignore. I accidentally left it at my boyfriend's place a few months ago, and just got it back this past weekend. So I hadn't worn it in ages, and I decided to sleep in that instead. I went out to my living room after changing, where my roommate commented that it had been a long time since she'd last seen me wearing that shirt. And we had an entire conversation about where it had been. This is how I know I didn't dream it. I asked her this morning if we had talked about that, and she said that we did. When I woke up this morning, I didn't realize anything was off until I went to get changed. I opened the same drawer as the night before, and right there, perfectly folded, was the camp shirt. I looked down and realized that I was wearing my red shirt again, the same one that I decided not to wear last night. I'm not sure what happened. I definitely never changed out of the camp shirt and back into the red one because once my clothes hit the dirty hamper, it feels gross to wear them again until they're washed. I've been trying to rationalize this, but I can't think of a single way how I would have just changed in the middle of the night to put on a dirty shirt, and also neatly folded the new shirt and returned it to my drawer. Usually the things that happen to me can be explained away as maybe a dream, but I have another person verifying that I did not dream this. I honestly just feel sort of freaked out right now. I'll preface this by saying that it could have happened because I was working overnights, and it kind of messes up your system to live during the night, but I was getting plenty of sleep and I definitely wasn't tired enough to experience visual hallucinations. During my second year of college, I picked up an overnight job at Walmart because I needed money, and I really enjoyed not having a lot of time to myself. It kept my mind occupied. Now, my ride to work was about 30 minutes, and almost completely on a highway with not many exits, just a long, straight road. One morning, at around 7 a.m., right when my shift finished, I got on the highway to get back home. Now, during the week, the highway is full. It's kind of a pain, really. So many people, and so much traffic, and the 30-minute ride turns into an hour-long one. This happened during the weekend, though, so you can guess that there was not a huge amount of circulation at 7 o'clock on a Sunday. At first, I was alone on my side of the highway, until I noticed a car merging into it. I kind of just noted that it was there for safety. You never know how people are going to behave on the road. Then, the car approached mine, and at one point, I was in the left lane and it was in the right lane, side to side. I could see inside the car and who was driving. Everything seemed normal. It was a mid-20s man on the wheel with 3 other people in the car, one riding shotgun and the 2 others in the back. I didn't like having the car right next to me, so I just sped up a little, and the car was right behind me on the right lane. Now, keep in mind, there were no exits until mine in a couple of kilometers. I had just seen the car. I had just passed it. But suddenly, it was gone. Like, gone. No trace of the car. It wasn't parked on the side of the highway. I checked. The road is very flat and you can see pretty far ahead and behind you, and it was just gone. Needless to say, I got my back end home as fast as I could and proceeded to tell the story to everyone. They didn't believe me, but it was quite the scary experience. Hey everyone. Not exactly a glitch per se, but a very intriguing situation nonetheless. A little backstory. This happened in September of 2019, about a week before my wedding. On the floor next to my office chair, I had a box of small glass tea light candle holders that were to be used as a table decoration for the wedding. They needed the barcodes removed so they looked more appealing, and I had set one on top of the box of 32 to remind myself that I needed to take care of that. I was home alone with my 2 cats, and my now wife was at the gym. I was slacking off, sitting at my computer watching a YouTube video on quantum mechanics mods for Minecraft, instead of helping get things ready for the wedding, when suddenly, throughout my whole body, I felt like I had touched a light socket, or gotten a very strong static shock. At that exact moment, I heard something hit the carpeted floor next to me. I turned immediately and found that it was the candle holder that used to be on top of the box. It had been tossed about 2 feet from the box. At first I thought one of the cats had batted it off because they're both very mischievous and playful, and that's absolutely something they would do, so I immediately searched the room. No cats. Then I walked out to the living room to look for them, and they were both asleep on the cat tree, 20 feet away from where I was sitting. When I realized that it couldn't have been one of them, I absolutely lost my mind. I got freaked the F out and sat on the couch until my wife got home, and I could not get the situation off of my mind for several days. It really shook me, and I lost a good amount of sleep over it too. The only explanation I can come up with is that something or someone in another dimension, realm, whatever you want to call it, was trying to get me to get off my lazy, unhelpful back end and get something done for the wedding. I even have a photo of where the candle holder landed on the floor, but I can't post photos on this sub. So, this isn't too much of a big deal for me, but my friend who was there with me wouldn't shut up about it, so I thought I would make a post. Me and my friend are typical stoner bros in college. Study a little, smoke a little, fun times. But we're also very cautious and don't like breaking rules, so rather than smoking in our dorm rooms and getting in trouble, we take a 10-minute walk outside and smoke underneath the bridge. There's a ramp on the side of the road. It goes all the way around and underneath the bridge where there's a river and like benches and stuff. It's never really that busy, and there's almost never anyone there when it's late. Like, we'll see some people during the day, but literally no one at night. So, we're smoking and chatting away, and it's dead quiet, except for us. And my friend says, Thank God there's no one about this time, so we could smoke in peace. And I say, yeah, imagine if someone just appeared on a bike. And at that very second, a guy is probably about 2 feet away from us on his bike. We didn't hear him or his bike, we didn't see him. We were both certain that there was no one there, but as soon as I said what I said, he was 2 feet away from us. It was an Asian guy wearing a green parka on his bike, just staring at us and riding slowly. He didn't say anything or bother us. He just rode on. But he was staring at us. The glitch in the Matrix elements to this story is that, despite not seeing him at all, I said imagine if a guy on a bike rode past. I didn't say walk or run or anything. I said bike. And he just appeared on a bike. He wasn't 10 feet away. He wasn't 5 feet away. No, he was 2 feet away from us. So that was this week's glitch in the Matrix collection. And hopefully, you all enjoyed it. If you did, please consider hitting that thumbs up button, as it does help the channel a lot. If you didn't, you can hit the thumbs down button if you so feel, but just know that you're helping the channel by doing so. That's right. Haha. Anyways, you can also subscribe to the channel if you're new. Don't hit subscribe if you're already subscribed, as it will unsubscribe you. I've said that a billion times. I think you guys get it. You can also leave me a comment if you feel so inclined. And in this comment, you should consider leaving the word of the week. The word of the week is a thing that I do where I give you a word, you put the word in a comment, your comment gets put on screen at the end of the next week's glitch video. Not next week's, though, the week after. Next week is a compilation. There will be no word of the week next week. The week after, we'll have the next word of the week. So, 2 weeks for this one. And on the screen right now is a beautiful collection of beautiful people that beautifully used that beautiful word echo in their beautiful sentence. That's right. It's a thing of beauty. All of these people participated in last week's Word of the Week, and as such, their comments are on the screen right now. And I don't have anything else to say about that. So huge thank you to all of them. Really do appreciate it. Now, this week's Word of the Week is one that is absolutely... Nope, got nothing. It's absolute. ABSOLUTE, which is free from imperfection, or free or relatively free from mixture, outright unmitigated, having no restriction, exception, or qualification. As in, it is not an absolute requirement that you leave me a comment with the word of the week, but yes, it is. No, it's not. Anyways, I hope you all have a beautiful day. Oh, there we go with beautiful again. Hope you all have a great day, and I will see you on the next video. But until then, friends, please, sleep well.